Hi guys, my name is Raymond Liu and I'm the Director of Communications, and we're back with another episode with Table Talk with TEDx. Today I'm here with our special guest.
Ken Miller.
And what are you currently doing right now?
Well, I'm a professor here at the university, and I teach in the Department of Marketing. I teach a class called Professional Selling.
Nice.
Which is everything it says, but also I get a lot into the transition of, since I have mostly seniors,
right,
the transition of them to the workforce, which means interviewing and how to be a good employee and how to get the right first job, and, and then how to move up in your career. So I've added that as a result of finding out that a lot of students were very nervous about that in my class, and they appreciate the fact that we're spending time on that because they come back to me and go, "Those things that you taught us, that's exactly the kind of things that the interviewer has asked us," and they feel a lot better.
So professionally selling yourself, as your own brand.
Selling yourself. Right? This is intended to be a professional selling on a business to business kind of a level, but obviously the principles apply to selling anything.
Awesome. We're glad to have you here today. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
Awesome. So the name of the game is that we're just gonna have a couple of directed questions, and then just to talk about your work and for our viewers to get to know you a little bit more. And then from there we'll just see where it takes us. Okay. Awesome. So our first question is, what motivated you to sign up for TEDxCSULB?
So everybody respects what the TEDx community does. And there's so much learning that takes place from people's experiences and hearing them. And then having watched them so many times on so many different subjects, when I had the opportunity to learn that they existed at Cal State Long Beach, I was excited to consider that I would have the opportunity to do something that would have a wider audience than I even have from my consulting business that I have, and my classroom work, to think of the people that we could reach with a message that I have.
Awesome. Next question is, what inspired you to do the work that you do?
So probably in high school, John Kennedy was president, and I remember some words that he said, that to whom much is given, much is expected. And those words have stuck with me my entire life. And he wasn't talking about wealth and privilege. What he was talking about is everybody's been given talents and abilities and skills and opportunity, and that it's incumbent upon all of us to use those to the best of our ability. Okay? And so as I went through my learning here at Cal State Long Beach, I took a class called Motivation and Productivity. The book was by Saul Gellerman. I remember this book, and something clicked that day or that semester when I took this class, because it was all about leading men and women, talented men and women, to places that they could get to that they might not get to without somebody leading them. And it just snapped. I said, that's what I want to do. And so as I started my work I started at Xerox Corporation, had a distinguished career there, essentially leading men and women to top performing status. And then I started my own consulting company with the whole intent of having a broader audience. Since the principles work so well, can I go out and make a bigger impact on a larger audience? And then after I sort of backed away from the travel that goes along with it, with going on nationally and internationally, then I decided I can do the same thing here at the university, and not have to travel all over the place. And so that is what inspired me to the subject and to what we're talking about. And then it fits just naturally that to now reach a broader audience through TED would be the perfect synopsis to end all that.
I was like, that is crazy. Like, would you be interested in doing like an international TED Talk as well? Would that be on your radar?
Yeah. And anything that spreads the message. So I think the message is important. And what I talk about is, in the course of my work, what I've found is that, especially young people, and I've had the opportunity of working, certainly young people now in my class, but also young people when I started off in my business career, and the young people I've taught in my consulting work, that if people have a general direction, if they have a real clear sense of where they're going with their life, then so many things fall into place. And my presentation is all about living a life of purpose and meaning, and what are the three great questions that lead you there. And so I postulate these three questions as the way of people to think about how to create that life of meaning, so that they grab control of their lives and take it where they want to take it, and don't have life just happen to them. And as a result of that, people feel clarity about that, and they feel more well directed, and they make better decisions.
Oh, in that sense, like with these 3 questions in mind, this leads to the next one. Like, what is that one key takeaway that you would like attendees to obtain from the TEDx presentation? I know you dabbled upon it, but would you like to expand on it?
Sure. And I use the analogy of people need to have. When I'm talking to my students, okay, it's okay not to have an exact roadmap as to where you're going to go. Because I asked my seniors in the first day of my class, what are you going to do after you graduate? And most of them don't know an answer to that.
Yeah,
okay?
me included.
And I think about that and I go, that's not hard to understand. I mean, you spent the last 21 or 22 years of your life focusing on passing tests and turning in papers and trying to prepare yourself for this big new world. Well, now you're faced with the decision, what am I going to do in this big new world? So you have to start focusing on it. And the question is, okay, the world is so complex. It's such a difficult question to answer. Okay, if I can provide some guidance and some perspective to people as to what they ought to be thinking about. So I give them exercises. I give them an exercise, and one of the exercises I ask them, okay, what are your strengths? Okay, what are your weaknesses? Because every person that goes out and interviews is going to be asked that question. But what they don't know is that people are going to ask a backup question to that is, how do you know those are your strengths? Or give me some examples of that. Okay, and people, they need to really understand the answer to that, because if they work doing the things that they're good at, they're going to be engaged in their work. They're going to do much better than just going out. Because so many students, I think, go out with the intention, I'm going to go get the highest paying job I possibly can, right? Yeah, and that may not be the place where they ought to be, because they may not enjoy the work. It may not be engaging at all. Only 30% of the American workforce is considered engaged in their work, which means they're loyal, happy, productive, and actually contributing to the success of the organization. A full 53% of the American workforce is considered not engaged, which means they're putting in time. They're trading a paycheck for the time that they spend. That's awful. That's just awful. This is work that was done by the Gallup organization, an 18-year study, the biggest study that's been done on this subject at all. And so it just talks to the condition of the American workforce. So essentially, if people don't know where they're going, they become victims of the circumstances of finding the wrong place to work, maybe even for the wrong reasons. And so part of my direction is to help them ask the right questions. And so to answer your question, I want them to have a compass. I want them to have a compass for their lives that says, if I do these things and I can answer these questions that Ken has asked us about, then I'm going to be on the right track. So I asked them to build a legacy statement. What do you want to be? What do you want to accomplish in your lifetime? And to write it out and to look at it on a regular basis. And to answer the question, why should I hire you? Okay, which is another question that people are going to be answered, right? And a number of other things. This exercise, which I give them plenty of time to do, they come back and tell me they've never had to think more about how to answer that any exercise they've ever done. And at the same time, they also say, I'm really glad we're doing this now. And when they come back from their interviews and talk to me, they go, man, he said, I felt so much more prepared. So when you hear that as a professor, you go, we're good.
That's it.
We're good.
Yeah. Awesome. Like, I think that's like, for me, like having my personal experience, like I'm having difficulty right now. Like, even though I am a little young, but on the younger side, but like it's never too late to think about those questions where you want to be. So when I like proposed it to my another professor, like along the same lines, it's like trace back to what you find like you want your ideal life to be. Like not only your strengths, your weaknesses, like what do you want to do? In terms of like do you want to give up some amenities for other amenities? Which ones? Like what do you value? Like what are you willing to compensate? And
what he's saying is, build a vision of yourself, that compass that it's like the true north. It's like the star that you're always pointing to, and work back from there. Because if you do that, then the road of you getting there will be a lot straighter than making mistakes all the way along and getting off track. And so that really becomes a vehicle for you to get to where you really want to go. But the important part of this, Raymond, is not just doing that, building the statement, but reading it on a regular basis and thinking about it and purposely and intentionally deciding that you're going to do something about that every single day. I carry mine in my calendar. I look at the first thing I do every morning is I open up my calendar and I read my legacy statement. And then I make decisions from that day. What can I do to live my legacy today? And as a result of it, I feel intentional. I feel that I'm moving in the right direction, and the rest is history.
So the legacy statement and thinking, what decisions can I make today in order to fulfill that statement?
Yes, because you can think about most days for most people, things happen to them. They're reacting to stimuli that other people are causing them to live their life the way they are. But if you make intentional statements of going, I'm going to do this today, then you plan that into your work and you get it done. Okay, and you don't let things that shouldn't distract you because you put the time into doing it. You'll get more done. You'll get the right things done. You'll get more likely to get to where you want to get to.
As I'm seeing a sort of a correlation to career path, but would you like to elaborate on how those exercises come into play when figuring out your career choice?
Yeah. So one of the things I mentioned is the strengths and weaknesses, and a lot of research has been done of this, that people who do work that exercises their strengths, that's in areas that they're strong in, are more engaged, they're happier, they're more successful. Okay. So there's some work that's been done. In fact, I offer this as one of the handouts at the end of my presentation,
right?
Which is I've made an arrangement with a tester who has taken. So he provides a strengths test. So at the end of the test, you know what your strengths are as a result of taking the test. But what he's done is taken it a second step further, which most strengths tests don't.
Right.
And he's profiled it against all the jobs that exist in the Department of Labor database. And what it shows back to you is that of those strengths, these are the careers that you would most likely succeed in. So it takes it from beginning thousands to and it helps you have that clarity. And that's such a powerful solution.
To have a better idea of where you would best fit instead of for example, a lot of high achieving students, they feel like they in relations to coursework and how they have a lot of flexibility there, they also have a flexibility of career choice. For someone like that is engaging in that issue, how would they be able to narrow it down?
Right. And when you think about it, it's a hugely important and very difficult decision. I mean, just think about the number of careers and the number of jobs that exist out there.
Yes.
And then once you narrow it down to that, then you have to pick the right place to do that, which is then figure out the company. And the analogy I use with my students is, look, in my class, you're going to spend 4 or 5 hours studying for your midterm or 4 or 5 hours studying for your final or both.
Right. Okay?
And in the course of your lifetime, it's going to be insignificant, the impact passing my test is going to have on your success.
Yes.
But knowing that you're going to the right company is going to have a major impact on whether you're going to be happy in your job, engaged in doing it, and be successful. Shouldn't you be spending the amount of time to research that equally to what you spend to a midterm or final?
Yeah.
And you know the answer. Okay, the answer is self-obvious.
And would you consider that one of the most misconceptions you would like to address, or is there another one that stands out?
I think the whole idea of there's just confusion. Most students, and by the way, these are bright, well-meaning, smart, people that want to do something. Right. People want to do things that are meaningful in their lifetime. They want to do something important. The best thing I'm trying to do is help them to go in the right direction, to have that compass that points them to the right direction and says, okay, here's a way to go. Here's to help you find out what your strengths really are. Here are the careers that could possibly get you there. And as a result of that, be engaged in your work, be productive in your work, be happy in your work, be contributing to society, have a better life, and live longer.
That is a long checklist, and I hope everyone can accomplish that, though.
I do too.
Of course. And this heads into my last question. How would you describe your TEDx presentation?
Well, my TEDx presentation is a series of stories.
Right.
And some of it's stories about what the research says about how people find meaning in their life. And then the last part of the presentation is about stories of people that exemplify what building a great legacy is. I tell 3 different stories, 2 from people that the audience won't know, and 1 from Dr. Martin Luther King, who everybody knows. And people relate to those stories because they go, I understand the message that came from that story. And that gives me, when I face that, then I have the same choice that they had. Look what they did. I can do that too.
Right.
And so it gives them the courage to be able to face things that normally they may not be able to face otherwise.
to acknowledge that the fact that what seems impossible is actually possible.
And almost everybody underestimates what they can do when faced with it. We see so many acts of courage in so many places, but sometimes it takes a chaotic event to lead you to that. And what this is saying is, don't wait for that. Okay, purposefully lead yourself to to making the right choices by having that compass.
But do you think adversity also contributes to that?
It absolutely does. And people that don't face adversity are never in a position to help other people who face adversity. I remember the story of one of the very best sales reps that ever worked for me, who was doing all the right things. And I would walk at the end of the day, walk by the sales bullpen and see him there at 6 and 7 and 8 o'clock at night. Okay. And just absolutely struggling personally to think, I'm not succeeding. And I said, tell me what you're doing. Tell me what you're doing. He was doing all the right things. And I said, you know what? This is just a matter of timing. What you're doing is all the right things. And it's gonna happen for you because you're systematically doing all the right things. You turned out to be an amazing success, but it was just a matter of timing. He just ran up against that. And so people just need sometimes to hear the stories by some people that have been through that. If I hadn't gone through personal adversity, then it would have been hard for me to be able to tell that story. He became a manager, and he was able to tell to tell that story to all of his people. So adversity is a great teacher. If you learn the lesson from adversity, some people do, some people don't.
Wow, that is very interesting to hear. Thank you so much for that. And then if you had 3 words to describe your presentation with, what would those 3 words be?
Well, it's the 3 words are impact, reputation, and legacy, because those are the 3 questions that I really focus on. What impact are you making? What reputation do you choose for yourself? What legacy are you going to leave? And legacy being the key one. All that. So building your legacy is really what this is all about. Build a great legacy and stay focused and optimize your potential.
Hope for the best.
Yeah.
Plan for the worst, hope for the best.
It's not hope. When you plan for it, there's not hope. Hope isn't a strategy. Hope isn't a strategy. Okay. It's really intentionally getting there because you plan for it. There's a great saying: luck is the residue of design and desire, and the design is the plan.
Right.
The desire is I want it more. I'm going to make sure it happens. Okay, and then luck appears, and it's not luck at all.
Really,
it's not luck at all. But people look at it like oh, you're always lucky, or you always do well, and you always have the best of this. You always have the best.
It's just timing.
It's design and desire. You planned it better than anybody else, and you wanted it more, and that's that's the message.
That's awesome. I was like, you should definitely just host your own conference. Just with Ken Miller. Yeah. Got it. See, this is a question that's not on the script.
Yeah, okay.
But what would you like to do in your free time outside of work and outside of your time with your students?
So what I do is so I have a new grandchild as my first.
Wow,
so I spent
congratulations.
My first grandchild. So I spend time with Cole. And actually, my son and his wife are going to be in the audience for the TED Talk.
Nice.
Not with the baby. And I'm a boater, so I have a boat. And so I love being out on the water and with friends and enjoying life. Also, I love socializing. I'm a frustrated rock and roll singer.
Whoa!
I've sung on stage with a number of fairly significant rock and roll bands. I sing one song called "Run Around Sue" by Dion and the Belmonts. It's my only song.
Of course.
And I love to dance. So
what type of
swing dance.
Swing dance.
I'm not a hip hopper.
No. Like any ballroom.
No, I just like the free form of being able to dance, to how the music is affecting me. So that's
awesome. And then a little bit about the boating, rowing, canoeing, or
it's a power boat. And so I live down in Naples, and I have my boats right there. So just walk out, jump on the boat with some friends, and do some sunset cruising and
drink a beer, have a good time,
have an adult beverage.
That sounds like an amazing time. I was like, do you do it often?
A lot. Yeah.
That's your de-stressor.
It just reminds you how beautiful this world is that we live when you see the beauty of the the sea and the ocean and the sun setting. We're so lucky to live where we live. That you know, and then having good friends around who enjoy enjoying the camaraderie.
Yeah.
What we do.
Awesome. That sounds so good. Thank you so much for your feedback and input. But that wraps up for my interview. See